Sunday recap on a Monday. It is time to recap the Super Bowl. The Seahawks are champions. As always, Kevin Bunk and Michael Merlo with you. Mike, I'm going to read you off 5 headlines from last night. You decide which one we start with. First, okay. Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion. Absolutely improbable path. We'll talk about it a ton today. Second, Drake May was horrible in this game and the entire playoff. Third, Seattle's defense all-time season. Fourth, Mike McDonald's coaching rank. I'm going to want to talk about that a lot today. And 5, Mike Merlo, flawless betting night.
Yeah, let's start with that last one. It doesn't get better than that. It really doesn't get better than that. No, I do want to start with Seattle's defense. We can start there. We can get to me later. We can gloat later. The scariest part about this team, Kevin, is, I like after the Super Bowl ends to kind of take a look at what we saw, take a look at, what happened throughout the year, and then get ready for next season, right? Because, it's a little depressing. The season's over. You got to wait a long time for another football game. That Seattle team's going to be right back there. What is stopping this team from being right back in that situation next season?
Yeah, this is a great team. They have a good young core. Darnold's going to be 28 years old next year, too. So you didn't sign this veteran free agent quarterback that you had to win with right away. You have the great coach. You're going to lose Kubiak, phenomenal offensive coordinator. But defensively, there is nothing stopping this team from being just as good, if not better, next year. You are going to have Nicky Manwari and Witherspoon and a handful of these guys, Kobe Bryant on rookie contracts where you don't have to pay him too much money. I think Bryant might be a free agent, but it's a great situation. Defensively, they're great. The veterans up front were great last night. Patriots offensive line got pounded, which we will talk about a lot today. Overall, though, you're right. Seattle's in a great spot to just be here in the NFC for the next few seasons. And I was so convinced the whole last 2 weeks that they were winning this whole thing.
Yeah, I never thought for a second. I really never thought for a second, never wavered that this was going to be I never thought it was going to be a game. I never thought it was going to be a game. And even when it's 9-0 and it's 12-0, you could kind of feel with the way that Seattle defense was playing that all Seattle needed was a touchdown and the game was over. The second they scored a touchdown, even at 9-0, the game would have been over. So it really just felt like they were in control the entire game. Give Mike McDonald, your boy, a lot of credit for the job that he did last night because, he was not aggressive at all in that game last night because he knew what he had on the defensive side of the ball.
And you mentioned it especially all week leading up to this game. The absolute advantage that Seattle would have on that side specifically, and the way that Clint Kubiak and Mike McDonald went about calling that offense told you everything you need to know about their confidence on the other side of the ball. The amount of 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10 draws that they ran, that they settled to play the field position game in, a 9-0 or 12-0 game. They weren't blowing out New England the whole time. It wasn't like that until late in the fourth. They really understood that they were not going to be beat on the other side of the ball. And it's a good job sticking to your guns. We didn't get one drastic 4th down go for it in this game.
No, we didn't. There were no situations like that whatsoever. It was just domination. It was domination. There was no way those receivers were going to beat guys in that secondary. You talked about the offensive line. They did an awful job last night. Will Campbell, 14 pressures allowed, and then he doesn't speak to the media after the game. What a loser. He's going to die on that field to protect Drake May? Yeah, looks like you did last night, buddy. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, Will Campbell's a serious question mark for New England moving forward. Not whether or not he's a good player, because I think he is, but whether or not he can be a good player for a full season at tackle. This is maybe a Peter Skoronski type of player down in Tennessee. He might have to project and be slid into guard because a lot of people projected him at the draft as a left guard, played left tackle at LSU, of course. They take him at pick 4. I don't know if I'm very confident after what I've seen this playoff run because he had the injury midseason. Before the injury, he was good. He was not great. Don't let a Patriots fan tell you otherwise. Had the 5-sack game against Myles Garrett in the first half of the season. All right, you want to write it off? Rookie gives up 5 sacks to a guy who broke the record. Fine. But then Will Anderson, Nick Bonito, last night, whoever Seattle threw at him on every play, they were all in the backfield. I mean, Witherspoon on a corner blitz swim moves him and doesn't get touched for a QB hit last night in a one-on-one rep. Like, it's just stuff that can't happen.
No, Witherspoon was a problem last night too. He was an absolute problem. Whether he was, back in coverage, obviously, or blitzing. He had a couple of those, one early and the one that you're talking about there, where he just gets right by Will Campbell. It's bad. It's bad. The entire offensive line didn't play well, though. I mean, he stands out because he was so piss poor, but the entire offensive line was not good last night. And it was, basically the difference in the game, one of the big differences in the game, that they couldn't protect their quarterback. And listen, it wouldn't shock me if we heard that Drake Maye was playing injured last night. I saw that he had a painkiller injection, a couple of days before the game, but I don't think that's an excuse. I don't think he could have been fully healthy. I don't think it changes anything. I think they still lose that game.
The obsession I've had with the way the Seahawks have drafted players in the secondary the last few years, while we're talking about their defense, is the priority on drafting corners who can basically play linebacker or defensive end too, and safeties also. Nick Emanwari that's why I had him as one of the top 20 players in this draft the past year. Like, just a guy who at South Carolina, they put him everywhere. Nickel, outside, regular, high safety. He'd play right up in the box. They'd put him right up over the middle on the line, and he was great. And they all tackle really well. Witherspoon's the same kind of guy. Kobe Bryant's the same kind of guy. They all tackle really well. They all play great brand, and it fits exactly what Mike McDonald wants to do. And the way that they were rushing them last night, 7 guys rushing every single play, and then the few times they'd leave 4 men to rush because of that Patriots left side of the line, it felt like 7 guys were still rushing. They never had a chance to develop any sort of game, whether it was run or pass.
No, they didn't. They couldn't run the ball. That was the biggest thing, too. If they were going to settle into this game, New England, they were going to have to run the ball a little bit, and they couldn't do that. Stevenson did nothing in the run game. I think Drake Maye ended up being their leading rusher. So nothing worked. I mean, nothing worked. And again, they don't have the receiver group to go up against that team, up against that secondary and beat them. You saw it last night, although that one throw to Matt Collins in the corner of the end zone there was really, really nice. There was no way they were going to beat them. No way.
In the second and third quarter, New England's offense had one drive where they had a first down and they fumbled on it. Like, they just got absolutely suffocated the whole night. And this is what's happened to their offense the whole postseason. So the fact that they step into this Super Bowl game against arguably the best defense in the entire league this year, best scoring defense, this is no surprise. I mean, we've been saying it for 2 or 3 weeks. That's why I'm at some points today where I'm not going to have that much to talk about, because we kind of called this game exactly what it was for 2 weeks since that NFC Championship game ended. That was the Super Bowl. 2
weeks ago, we had said when they beat the Rams that this was going to happen. And then obviously we did the previous show and said the same thing. You know what? One of my big takeaways, I texted you this late last night. One of my big takeaways from this postseason and this game here was, damn, that Rams offense is great. That Rams offense is unbelievable. They put up 30 and 27 in their last 2 games. If you look at San Francisco, who had the same record as the Rams this year, they didn't score a touchdown in the last 8 quarters against that team. Obviously, New England scores 13 points. There's a whole other list, too, of teams not named the Rams and what they scored against this defense. So my takeaway is, God damn, the Rams are good.
No, they're great. They have to be an early favorite for next year, I think.
Yeah, I was surprised with the list. I saw a couple power rankings.
What's the list for next year? I saw that the Jets are 32nd.
I did see that.
That came across the feed last night, but
I'll pull it up right now.
Because Seattle's got to be close too. Seattle has an interesting couple free agents that we can talk about throughout the show. I mean, if we want to bounce off their defense quick in a second and talk about the MVP and the offense, but Kenneth Walker made himself a ton of money the last month. A ton of money.
Yeah, so he's a full free agent, right?
Free agent, second round pick, so they didn't have a 5th-year option on him.
Right.
Full free agent. I'd imagine they franchise tag him because it's like $14 million versus he hits the open market, he might get $16 million a year with the cap going up on a 4-year deal.
Yeah, he could 100%. What a night! What a night from the MVP. We were on it. We were on that early. And it's a great feeling. Listen, the game kind of went in a perfect way for him. You know, if it wasn't going to be a quarterback, it went the perfect way for the running back to get it. You know, he had a little nervous about the kicker, little nervous about a defensive player, Witherspoon. I think he ended up forcing that fumble, correct, on May?
Yep.
So you get a little nervous about him. He had a sack. He played great defense, but the game went perfectly. You know, the quarterback played. Darnold was not good in this game.
No.
JSN was shut out. By the way, Christian Gonzalez, holy crap.
What a night for Christian Gonzalez.
We got to talk about him. So it went perfectly for KW there, and he's able to get it.
I think if he hit the open market, he'd probably not reset the running back market. You have McCaffrey at 19. You have Barkley at 20. Henry's at 15, though. I think Walker probably gets 16 or 17 million there if he hits the open market after his playoff run.
I think so, too, because I think a lot of teams will look at the regular season he had and say there's so much untapped potential. You know, like if you play him, if he's getting all of the run, he's your bell cow.
Yep.
You're getting the guy that you had in the postseason, and I'm willing to pay that guy $15, $16 million a year.
How about fantasy owners, too, who have been sitting on Kenneth Walker for years, just saying, why was Charbonnet playing? Because this guy looked like as good a back as anyone in the last 3 weeks against 3 very good, if not great, defenses and great defensive coordinators. He comes in here and just shreds all 3 teams.
Yeah, really frustrating. I traded for a mid-year, and I gave up a crap ton. So that was pretty frustrating to watch, but he was incredible. I mean, you saw these kinds of flashes throughout the year.
His whole career.
This was always in there. They just never let him spread his wings and fly. And they were able to do that here in the postseason because they had an injury, and you could argue it won them a Super Bowl.
I'm happy for him. Very likable guy in the press conferences, too. Really easy to root for.
Very chill.
He says.
Very chill.
There's that tone is over this entire Seattle team, too. You usually have, with all these great corners and receivers, you usually have like 2 or 3 big ego, like Deion Sanders type of personalities where they just, even like look at the Legion of Boom team. Richard Sherman was like that. Earl Thomas was like that. This team, you listen to Jackson Smith and Jigba talk to the media. It's like he's shy and he doesn't even want to have this kind of the Emerald City route artist. It's like he's shy. He doesn't even want to talk to the media. And then you have Witherspoon's giving a press conference last night or right after the game, a quick interview. Just big smile, soft-spoken, really respectful.
Character. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole team because Darnold's like that. Kenneth Walker's obviously like that. Great squad here.
And they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. They're plus 750. The Rams are plus 800. For some reason, the Ravens are the favorite in the AFC. But
because they got rid of that awful coach.
I don't understand that. But how do you not take Seattle or the Rams? You know, the top 2. The only other team I would consider is Kansas City at plus 1,600.
Yeah. One thing Seattle had this year that they won't have moving forward because it just never happens like this. They were as healthy as anybody this year. I mean, they did not lose a major contributor on either side of the ball this season.
Yeah. You know, the injury luck usually bounces the other way, you know, when you have it so, so great like they did this year.
And then they just played right next to the electrical substation. So
they're done.
They might be in trouble.
They might really be done.
Them and New England.
This was one of those games, you said it multiple times leading up, where Darnold didn't have to show up and they win the game.
Yep.
Super Bowl was that game. So Darnold didn't have to show up. And that's not a knock against him. I love him. But
I don't know.
He didn't.
I don't know if you saw this stat of the year. Seattle's the first Super Bowl team ever not to turn the ball over in the postseason.
Yep. Saw that.
That tells you the whole story. And so much for Darnold, who led the league in turnovers this year, I always compared him to Brett Favre. And Chris Collinsworth even brought that up last night. I always compared him to Brett Favre. Not that he was going to be as great or anything, but there are just a lot of uh-oh moments when Darnold's playing. And there's also a lot of like, all right, I'm okay with him trying that because he's obviously a freakishly talented thrower and quarterback. So I'm okay with him trying it. But for him to not turn it over against Robert Saleh's 49ers, Chris Shula's Rams, two teams that San Francisco didn't have a great turnover defense, but they had a very good defense all season long. I know they were brutally injured. The Rams turned the ball over a good amount and had a good defense all year long. And then this New England defense, the last 7 weeks has been as good as anybody. They don't turn the ball over at all, and they force a couple turnovers every game. Tells you the whole story.
How about this telling you a story? The Seahawks trailed for 1 minute and 35 seconds this postseason. It's the fewest amount of time trailing by a Super Bowl champion since the Redskins in 1991.
What was that, second half against the Rams?
I think
they had the Rams scored to go ahead, and then Darnold walked them right down the field.
Yes, that's what it was. I think it was the big play to JSN, which got them down the field, and they scored.
Was it the Bobo touchdown? Were they down 17-13 at that point?
They might have been Bobo.
I think it was Bobo.
Bobo was close last night.
Yeah.
Tough.
Because that was a serious first touchdown bet because you were waiting until the third quarter for it.
Yeah. Also had Booty riding, but yeah, obviously wanted Bobo.
First touchdown was in the fourth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I had a couple guys at the house riding Barner. Should have been on Barner too. It's all good.
How close do you think Jason Myers was to win an MVP?
Not close.
Not close, right?
No.
Walker's late fourth. He had a couple runs that really put him over the edge.
Yeah, and if he scored a touchdown, I would have completely iced it.
I wish he did there, just because that was such a legendary game for him. But that hold's a little tic-tacky kind of hold.
Yeah, he's outside the numbers.
But it was a hold.
It's going to get called.
It was a hold. And it probably contributed to the touchdown because Walker ran right by it.
Yeah. Walker was easily the MVP. Again, Witherspoon could have got it. Who scored the touchdown? I was just screaming, jumping. I didn't even see.
Was that Hall? Let me see.
I was just...
Oh, the touchdown for Seattle?
Yeah.
Was Barner. For the offense,
no.
Was Barner.
Defensive
touchdown. The touchdown for Seattle. What a dumb question. The defensive touchdown was it this pick six here?
It was a fumble 6.
It wasn't Love, right? He caught the pick.
No.
I'm not even seeing it.
Love, my guy. I'll pull it up.
Pull it up.
It
was it Derek Hall or no?
I thought it was Derek Hall.
It was definitely a defensive lineman. And how about Leonard Williams? What a year from Leonard Williams, too. One of our guys.
Yeah. It was... I can't find it. Leonard Williams, he was great. Julian Love, he was great. I saw this tweet. Byron Murphy. I saw this nice tweet from Shanahan. He, was on the broadcast for NBC. He called Julian Love the smartest safety in the league, so that was good.
It wasn't Byron Murphy.
Was it Owusu?
I think it was Derek Hall. Why are we blanking so bad on this?
I was
jumping. No, it was Nwosu, the guy, the former Charger. Yeah, okay. It was Uchenna Nwosu.
Just JM and I both had the bet, and we were jumping up and down hugging each other when it happened. So
yeah, that's why, because he's like number 5 or 7 or something.
Yeah. No, well, I think Hall's 7.
Whatever. No, Hall's 50 something.
Somebody's 7.
It's Nwosu.
He's 7.
Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence is like 0.
Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence getting a win. I saw some Cowboy fan tweet out DeMarcus Ware leaves Dallas to go to Denver, wins Super Bowl first year, 2015. Then 10 years later, DeMarcus Lawrence leaves Dallas to go win a Super Bowl, wins it a year later.
Did you see what he said this week, too, about why he came to Seattle?
I saw
or it was the week before the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, what was it?
And they asked him, what was your decision to come play for the Seahawks? Very open question. He could have said anything like, oh, great team here. And he goes, well, I was just in Dallas, and I want to win a Super Bowl, and I knew I wasn't winning one there, so.
Was he wrong?
He's right. He was 100% right, because in year 1, he goes and wins it. I'm trying to find this tweet I saved. Yeah. I've beat this dead horse all season, all playoff with John Schneider, but right now it's as good as any GM in the league. If you said you want to take him over Howie or anybody, I'd say go for it.
Yeah.
You're good with that. First of all, the stat that I brought up last week, first GM ever to make 2 Super Bowls without the same head coach or a single player from the prior team is insane for a general manager to do that. But you look at the decisions he's made the last few years and the offseason he just had, flawless. I mean, how many GMs, I've done this on this podcast before, how many GMs fire Pete Carroll for a 36-year-old defensive coordinator? How many GMs are going to trade Geno Smith, who just said, I know we're in revisionist history and it sounds crazy. Last year, they missed the playoffs, but they won 10 games, and he set almost every single season yards, completion, every record. And then not only that, but after having a top half offense last year, they fire the coordinator. They add Sam Darnold. They add Clint Kubiak, who is making decisions like this around the NFL, where they're taking an offensive coordinator from an offense that was pretty good with the Saints last year when healthy, but an awful team in New Orleans last year, a quarterback who's been on 5 teams in almost as many years, and bringing those guys in with a lot on the line, and it pays off great. Like, the risks that were taken and so calculated were so great. And then the veteran signings like Cooper Kupp, drafting Gray Zabel, drafting Nicky Manwari, they could not have had a better last 12 months.
No, and what's incredible about the fact that he's had so much time, that he's won, with so much time in between, is that he still has a job, right? You don't see that kind of, stability within an organization. So you got to give credit to ownership that they let him see this thing through, not only winning the first Super Bowl, but they never really bottomed out. I understand that, but there were a couple of down seasons there, in the middle of this. And, the fact that he was able to keep his job to now get to this point where he was able to make these great decisions and get them to a point where they're about to go on another big run, where it looks like this is going to be a multiple Super Bowl kind of run here. That, to me, is just as impressive as what he's done on the field. Is he's had the ability to stay in the same place for this long. And another thing that I kept seeing pop up on Twitter last night, how about that 2-point conversion in the Rams-Seahawks game on Thursday Night Football that had everything to do with the outcome of this football game and the outcome of this postseason? Because if they don't get that, they're down 2. And
they probably don't win the game.
They don't win the game, and we're not talking about an NFC Championship game being played in Seattle. It's in LA.
Yep.
And who the hell knows what happens?
Who knows? The home field advantage definitely hurt the Rams, if anything. It helped Seattle. I don't know if they would have played worse at SoFi, but they also don't get San Francisco round 1. They go on the road to Carolina. Like, who knows what unfolds? They have to play 3 playoff games instead of 2 to get to the Super Bowl.
You're in Chicago.
You go Carolina, then you go to Chicago, then you go to the Rams instead of home versus a battered San Francisco team, home against the Rams, and then in the Super Bowl. I mean, that might be the most pivotal play of the entire football season, that 2-point conversion. Just the way it happened and everything. Winning that game was huge for them. Yeah.
I'm on my saved tweets, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to swipe out of them because I saved a lot from last night. I went through them. I'm good. And I swiped to my feed. The first post is from 94 WIP in Philadelphia. And the first tweet says, "What a total missed opportunity for this Philadelphia Eagles team. Jeffrey Lurie should be more angry than he was when they lost to San Francisco."
Oh, my God.
Ma'am, they would have lost 40-0 if they played the Seattle Seahawks. That's how bad that football team was. Missed opportunity? What missed opportunity? What opportunity did they miss?
They lost to San Francisco, who then went to Seattle and lost by 40.
Like, what are we doing? This person's on the radio.
You know what this guy would have done? The Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo and Jalen Hurts.
I don't want to know. I actually
You know what this guy would have done after just beating 2 MVPs? The 2 MVP finalists. He made one of them look sorry. And they beat out Stafford in a complete shootout. Jalen Hurts is doing that?
Jalen Hurts would throw 3 interceptions and piss down his leg if he saw this defense.
This team, I think this team would give. I was thinking about like, when's the last time I saw a Super Bowl team as good as this Seahawks team? And I actually do think it's last year. Philadelphia. I thought Philadelphia had a great team and dominated their route to the Super Bowl. So it makes sense. Ironically, the only team that played them close last year was the Rams. So
yeah,
good on the Rams for getting close again. But
good at getting close.
But I think that this would be a really good game between those two teams. I really do. Think they match up real tight.
Yes. That team last year for Philadelphia and this team, this Seattle team, yes, I agree. It's a good game. I know who has the quarterback edge. Seattle.
Not going down. That's not going down this road.
Seattle. Right? If I need to win a football game, I want Sam. I don't want Jalen.
All right, let's talk about quarterbacks last night.
Unless it's an ass pushing contest, then fine. I'll take Jalen.
Drake May sucked for the last month. I got stats for it.
That's awful.
I got some stats for you.
And that interception, like it's 19-7. You get the ball back. You just score the touchdown, a perfect throw. And now you're like, all right, like maybe we have a football game here. You texted me cursing me out, saying that I said the game was over too early. And I was like, oh, let's see if we get some action here. Come on. And no, that interception to Love was unbearable. Brutal.
All right, here we go. Worst playoff run for a quarterback who started at least 3 games in a postseason. Drake May, 1, minus 29.2 total EPA. Peyton Manning, 2, minus 22.7 total EPA in 2015 when his arm didn't even work. Rex Grossman was 3rd in 2006. And then rookie Joe Flacco. Drake May, most sacked quarterback in the history of the playoffs, beats out the prior Joe Burrow. 21 times May was sacked. And I think if I'm looking at this entire playoff run right now, I'm looking at a team who played the easy schedule all year, sorry to beat the dead horse, could not score against the only 3 top 10 defenses they played leading up to the Super Bowl in the postseason. One, because the other 3 quarterbacks, one of whom was a backup, absolutely suck in the postseason. And then come into Seattle, finally get a healthy top 10 team without a dog crap quarterback who's just not going to make mistakes, and they get their ass handed to them. This Patriots offense, including the quarterback, who I wouldn't be worried about in the big picture, was awful the last month, which is another reason we gave you the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks about why New England had no chance in this game.
He was bad, no doubt, the last few months. And I want to say something about next season. Because I took a look at that schedule for next year. Obviously, it's tough to predict how these teams are going to look a year from now. But it would not shock me if they don't win this division again. It would not shock me if Buffalo, who has a new coach, yes, but somebody that's been there before, is more battle-tested and ready to go, playing deep into the year like this New England team did. I think it could have some effects lasting into next year. It would not shock me if New England's not the champion of the AFC East at all with that brutal schedule.
And I'm not just going to sit here and say New England will be back. This is a league that's seen Dan Marino and Don Shula never get back after the first one. It's a league that's seen Drew Brees and Sean Payton get there one time. Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy and then Matt LaFleur combined get there one time. This league does not let you get back. You think the Chiefs won't be back in the mix next year? You think the Bills won't be a little bit better? This was the worst team Josh Allen's been on. You think that the Broncos wouldn't have kicked your ass last week if their quarterback was able to play? I mean, this was a golden opportunity for New England, who get here and they play a team that's way better than them. They do. It happens. A roster that's way further along. But I'm not ready to say that they just get back to this point. I don't think it's safe to say that in the NFL. This was a golden opportunity.
I don't think it's safe to say they get back there in the next 5 years because it was. You mentioned Buffalo having their worst team in a while. The Ravens were not good this year. They had a lot of injuries. Lamar was banged up. They obviously fired the coach. You have Kansas City, obviously, they're down. Mahomes tears his ACL. They were bad to begin with. Justin Herbert had a ton of injuries on that team. The offensive line was banged up. Like every top dog in the AFC had something go wrong for them. Houston had the Super Bowl defense, but they had, a clown playing quarterback. Who else am I forgetting?
Same thing with the Chargers.
What?
Same thing with the Chargers and Houston. I think it's the same case too. Like,
no.
I think you're a Herbert guy. He sucks in the postseason. He's awful in the playoffs.
I'm totally offensive line.
Come on, there's always a reason for him. Do you think Stroud's offensive line was great the week after? They both stink in the playoffs.
Yeah, but he also didn't have that defense. He doesn't have that great of a defense.
You heard Kyle Shanahan great in that game, though.
You heard Kyle Shanahan say it. There were only 2 Super Bowl defenses in the league this year. Did you see this quote?
Yeah.
2 Super Bowl defenses. And what he means by that is the only thing the offense and special teams has to do is not screw it up. And the defense could win you a Super Bowl. And he said it was Houston and it was Seattle.
And I think that, first of all, I think Kyle Shanahan was great.
Well, he was good on TV.
And I think it was very cool to get an actual elite level coach who's active right now talking about these teams.
Yeah.
How about your boy, Julian Love? Best safety in the league.
Yeah.
Smartest safety in football.
You're not good.
Nice job, Joe Shane. Let him go for way below market value. Didn't even offer him. Great job. But now that Harbaugh's there, Shane's going to be great.
Right.
And then you had Fred Warner on there too, which I thought was good. But either way, you're right about Houston. I think the Chargers defense was great. And if the quarterback was half decent in that playoff game, they would have won it. And we wouldn't even be talking about the Patriots today. But one thing that pissed me off about this game, watching it, my Super Bowl prediction from a month and a half ago, beginning of January, the 2 best teams in football, the Broncos and Seahawks, did not get to play in this game because Bo Nix got hurt on a QB draw in overtime.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
Yeah, it would have been a cool game. It would have been a good game. It would have been better than this. This spread shouldn't have been 4.5. It should have been 7.5. They were that much better. I think it's more of a 3.5, 4.5 point spread if it's Seattle and Denver. But this should have been 6.5, 7. This was bad. It
was awful.
It was like, it wasn't entertaining either. It just wasn't entertaining.
It goes back to my earlier point from 2 weeks ago. New England was early. They were early to get here. This team felt the year away, and they end up finding their way to the Super Bowl, which obviously proves they were good enough to get there, but they're one of the worst, most inexperienced, least prepared Super Bowl teams I think we've seen in this century, at least. Like, I was looking through the teams, and I don't know a team that I thought lower of heading into the Super Bowl than this Patriots team.
And that Denver team in 2015, like, the defense was historically great. So you can't say them. Panthers were 15-1.
And you look at other teams that got blown out. The Denver team a few years earlier had the best offense in NFL history with a Hall of Fame quarterback. You have, like, most teams have a dominant MVP who lose on it. That's a trend in the Super Bowl. You have a lot of Chiefs. You have a lot of Mahomes and Brady teams in here the last 15, 20 years that you're saying, I think higher of them than I do. It's possible the last time that a team had this low an approval rating heading into the Super Bowl was the Panthers in, I think it was 2006, or the Patriots the first time they went, because everybody thought they had this backup quarterback with this young head coach and not a lot of big name playmakers around him, and they weren't going to beat the Rams. That might have been the last time people felt that way.
But you also have the Rams when they scored 3 points against New England, but like, they had one of the best offenses in the league, so I don't even think you could say them.
They had that whole year where they had that Chiefs game on Monday Night Football, and they just were putting up 40, 50 points whenever they wanted. Boy genius head coach. And they had a ton of studs. Todd Gurley was a monster. Jared Goff was a first overall pick. who was a really good quarterback. They had a lot of
Donald.
They had Cooper Kupp on that team. They had Brandon Cooks was on the Patriots for that Super Bowl, right? Or was he on LA for that Super Bowl?
I don't remember.
He was on LA for that Super Bowl because they had him in the back of the end zone for a touchdown that Goff was late on. Like,
I'll give you a team.
Yeah.
And you're not going to agree with it. And I was a big hater as I bring out the fidget spinner. The Bengals. That
okay. Yeah, that might be
Bengals team because that offensive line was terrible. I didn't think they had a chance against that Rams front. It was a young, inexperienced team, but they gave them a great game. Burrow was good in the game. You know, they did give him a game. So it's tough to say it after the fact, but heading in, I think the Bengals would be that for me.
Jets fans should be pissed. They gave away a franchise and Super Bowl quarterback. I mean, yeah, like I wish they had Darnold, but there's a long list of things I'm pissed about with the Jets, and Sam Darnold's probably like past like the 500th thing that I'd be pissed about.
Should we read the everything the Jets and the Giants have done the past few years to get Seattle to this point?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, let me pull it up. The I can tell you the Giants without going through the list, reading the list because I made the list. It's my list. The Giants passed on Charles Cross to draft Evan Neal.
Yep.
They let Julian Love walk, right, without offering him a contract. And then they traded Leonard Williams, which actually ended up being like a decent trade. Don't get me wrong, but they traded Leonard Williams for I think it's second or third round pick to Seattle.
Nice. Yeah, Jets have a nice long list here of reasons why they built this Super Bowl team. I could riff the Jets ones off the top of my head here.
Yeah, go.
Darnold, most obvious one. Every Jets fan wanted JSN. He was on the clock for him, went a few picks later. I don't know if it was the direct next pick. I don't think it was. But went a few picks later. That was the first year of Rodgers.
Okay.
So everybody wanted the extra wide receiver, thought we needed it. Garrett Wilson was telling everyone Jackson Smith-Njigba was the best of all the elite Ohio State receivers. You got to draft them. They didn't take them. And then they bragged after that they didn't have a first-round grade on Jackson Smith-Njigba and that their best wide receiver left was Malachi Corley, and they got him in the third round. And they were all pumped about that. Corley's up team a year later. Whatever, I digress. Leonard Williams is also a Jets one. Did get traded by Joe Douglas. You have the last week underrated one 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I'm not going to go Charles Cross, though, because I think they did well with taking Sauce Gardner instead of him.
Okay.
So I'm not even going to go there with Charles Cross. But you have Jason Myers, who was an all-pro with the Jets, gets released, or they let him walk in free agency because they didn't want to pay him $2.5 million a year to kick, which was a huge mistake. How many games did they lose with kicker the next few years? Myers too, this year. I don't know if you saw it, sets the single season record for most points scored.
I did.
That's insane.
Including the Super Bowl,
including playoff Super Bowl. And then an underrated Jets one is they just last year cut a guy, Leonard Taylor, who was like a fan favorite, and he blocked Will Lutz's kick in the AFC Championship for New England.
Okay.
To get them there. So that's just a few of the Jets, terrible blunders of getting them here. And then also they have a big Drake May thing, loser of that game in Week 18. Well, if New England won their Week 18 game a few years ago, Belichick's last game, they would not have gotten Drake May. The Jets beat them for the first time in a decade.
I won a lot of money on the Jets that day.
That was a lock.
That was a lock. That they also had beat the Giants a week earlier. So there you go.
Yeah.
I got to shout out Colin Cowherd, who's from the Seattle area, and big
shut up, bro.
Big Seahawks fan. And
are you serious?
He was emotional last night. He's tweeting and everything, and I'm just happy for him to get a Super Bowl there. You know,
that's cool. Are you joking right now?
That's cool stuff, man.
I got to shout out my guy Bill Simmons, then, who is from the New England area and got absolutely destroyed last night.
Okay.
But yeah, let's flip it back here. Patriots.
Can we gloat?
Super Bowl. Yeah, you could actually hit some betting gloats right now.
I want to gloat.
Yeah.
All right. Super Bowl MVP, my first one ever. We hit Kenneth Walker. I think it was like plus 700, something like that. Kenny Walker's your Super Bowl MVP. We gave that out to you on Thursday. All the receiving overs. Walker over 20.5, Cup over 32.5, Stevenson over 24.5, Matt Collins over 24.5. We had Cup over catches, Hollins over catches, both 2.5. Barner, same thing, over 2.5. We just missed on Henry, who was a half a catch short. We hit on the Walker over 2.5. Seattle's defense to score a touchdown. How about that? Hit that at plus 600. I mean, it was, and obviously got Kenneth Walker to win MVP. One of the better nights, and of course, Seattle minus 4.5. One of the better nights. I was texting a couple of guys went to school with. I'm like the Eli Manning of gambling. I'll hit the big games.
Yep,
I'm
there you are.
Pretty bad outside of the big game.
After a year of everyone fading your picks, here you are making money last laugh on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody followed me either, which is perfectly fine. But it was great. It was great. It was great.
It's lonely at the top.
It is lonely at the top. It is. But again, you get people, you see people, and they're like, "Can you start winning a bet because I've been riding you and I've lost a lot of money, and it doesn't feel good." And last night feels good.
Proud of you, man. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, we hit on almost everything we talked about on Thursday.
Did you take coin toss?
No.
I
Not a
took
coin toss guy.
I took coin toss. Heads.
Proud
Those
of you.
heads. Those heads.
What about Anthem? How'd you do on Anthem? Great Anthem.
Great. Yeah, we got to talk about that actually. I got a text that was top 3 Anthem of all time.
Yeah, I think it was.
I liked it.
I
don't
thought
know,
the choir was
top 3.
great. How about the shot of the Jets flying over him while he's singing? I like Charlie Puth. I think he's a great musician.
So do I. I like Charlie Puth.
So I thought he did a great job. Terrific anthem. Up there with probably right behind Stapleton and Whitney Houston, but a big gap to Puth. Like those two were can't be touched. Big gap, Charlie Puth. But you're an anthem guy, right?
Yeah, I couldn't get any action down. Couldn't find anywhere to get it down on.
Okay.
So I was gonna take under. From what I've seen, the under hit by like a second and a half. So that would have been a winner. But I couldn't find anybody to take my money on that, so I wasn't able to bet it.
How about Bad Bunny?
Yeah.
Did you see it, or were you too busy watching Kid Rock on the All-American halftime show? Turning USA?
I was gonna throw it on, and then I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna have to talk about it. Like, it's gonna come up in conversation, whether it's here or just in life over the next week. So I said to my friends, "It's like, listen, like, we're leaving this on. Like, we're gonna leave this on. We're gonna watch it." And I was sort of excited for Bad Bunny. I kind of was. I go to the bar, and when I'm dancing and Bad Bunny comes on, like, it's good feeling. It's hype. You're like, let's go, and you're trying to sing the song in Spanish, whatever. I haven't wasted 15 minutes of my life like that in a really long time. I mean, really?
I didn't think it was as bad as you're making it to be. Like, I thought Kendrick Lamar was worse last year.
No, I don't think so. At least I understood what he was saying.
I didn't even. That was my problem. I couldn't even hear him.
I
thought the audio was terrible last year. But either way, like,
the audio wasn't good this year either.
It wasn't.
It's too difficult of a concert to, a performance to have it all go right.
My problem with the Super Bowl halftime show is a lot of these people that do it, including Bad Bunny specifically, have great live concerts where they're just on a stage with the screen. They do a lot of stuff to make sure those are great. If I were him, I would have just done that last night.
Yeah.
And I would have shot it the way he shoots his concerts for video and been done 15 minutes. But he does the whole Puerto Rico thing, which is cool. Like, take your chance doing it. And I think more than half the United States population seemingly found out that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States and that they are citizens. Think that was a hot topic that got squashed yesterday.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was awful. Didn't think it was the best. Thought the Lady Gaga thing was really random.
I had an inside source that told me Lady Gaga was going to be there, and I forgot to bet it. Yeah.
That's insider trading if you did.
I know. Well, good thing I didn't.
Can't do that unless you're a politician.
Right. I heard that.
Anything else on the game? Or
I have one more thing on Bad Bunny. Did you see those people that got married? Like, it was
Yes.
true. Like, that was like real.
That was cool for them. For us, I was like, what are they all saying right
I don't
now?
know
I
if
don't know
that's
what's going
cool.
on.
I don't know if that's cool. I don't think I'd want that.
If you're a huge Bad Bunny fan, because they asked him to be at their wedding, and he says, do you want to get married at the Super Bowl?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. I guess if you're big, like, I'm trying to think, like, all right, Sabrina Carpenter says, hey, I'm doing a concert. You can get married at my concert. Like, do I do it? And like, I don't think so.
You're saying no?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I probably want to marry Sabrina Carpenter. So why would I get
Well,
married?
that's not happening.
in front
So you can get married with her there at the Super Bowl, or just get married in church to non-Sabrina Carpenter.
Right, that's the problem. So I don't know. I think maybe no.
What if the Giants were playing? What if they're all big Seahawks fans?
Well,
Getting
that
married.
changes things. That
Changes everything.
things. But if I don't need the stress of getting married and the Giants in the Super Bowl at the same time.
Yeah,
So
imagine you got to go out there to get married, and the Giants are down like 28-4.
Right. Like, no, I can't. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Great first half. Like, Jackson Dart's been sacked 9 times. We turned it over 6 times. We're getting our asses kicked in by the Jets, and Aaron Glenn's dancing on the sideline. And I have to get married right now at halftime.
I saw this good tweet from this Patriots fan. It was like a few of them, actually. It's like, Democrats, this halftime show is the greatest thing ever. Conservatives, this is the worst halftime show ever. And then it's this guy's just like, me, I think Will Campbell might be a guard. And I was crying.
He is a guard.
Yes.
He definitely is.
I think we found that out.
T-Rex arms is what they said about him a year ago.
Dude, you know, obviously Drake May's getting nined last night, right?
Yeah, I saw him getting a lot worse too.
Will Campbell was getting kneeled last night.
No.
Evan Neal, he was getting kneeled last night. That's what I saw.
Would you move him to guard?
Who?
Campbell next year? Like, what do you if you're the Patriots going into this offseason, what is the actual rational outlook on your offensive line? You have your center, you have your right guard. Morgan Moses is back next year. He's under contract, so you can keep him and you'll survive at right tackle. You had 2 rookies start the Super Bowl last night at left guard and left tackle, get bull rushed every play, looked awful. Do you actually put 100% stock into Will Campbell playing left tackle next year?
They might be a little stubborn and say we're going to give it one more year.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you got to the Super Bowl, right?
He drafted him 4th overall. I think they'll stick it out one more year with him at tackle and see where it goes.
Yeah.
But if I was a fan of the team, I'd want him to move him. I don't care. You know, eat your pride. Okay, you drafted a guard at 4. Okay.
If I were them, I'd maybe bring in a guy like the Bears just did with Joe Thuney. I don't know if there's a Joe Thuney available, but
protector of the year.
Maybe like Elijah Vera Tucker, a guy that I know can play guard and tackle. So if it goes south with Campbell and we need to make a swap, I have a starting level player not only at left guard, but I can just switch him out and see how that works with a veteran who's shown that he can play tackle too.
Illuminor feels like a good fit there.
Illuminor would be an exact type of guy like that.
Yeah. They might pay up for Illuminor.
They're going to need to go offensive line because I don't even think – but I know their playmakers aren't attractive and like it's not this high-powered offense, but I don't think they need pass catchers or running backs. They need to shore up the offensive line. And May, for the whole season with the great pocket presence all year, I think helped the line a lot. Deer in headlights in this postseason. A lot of times felt like just completely overwhelmed.
Bad. Really bad. The fumbles were a massive problem. They were the fumbles were a problem all year. Yeah. And then this pocket presence just he probably just had no faith in this offensive line, knew what was going to happen.
And it got to a point where the last 2 weeks, especially the last 2 games, Denver and Seattle just sent 7 guys all game, 3 or 4 on the blind side every play. And he just got.
And Seattle didn't need to do that. And Houston did not need to do that in the divisional round. And I mean, you should just rush it forward, getting home. I mean, that was hysterical.
Yeah. I mean, Will Anderson had an absolute hell.
Will Anderson was just getting to the quarterback at will that day, but it was bad.
They're a really interesting team in the AFC, though, the Texans. Not to go totally off topic, because you're going into this offseason saying exactly what you said about 20 minutes ago. Super Bowl defense, best defense in football, could have won it all if we had a quarterback. Maybe you have one in your backup.
Davis Mills.
Who isn't going to turn the ball over and is just going to do what Sam Darnold just did for Seattle this week and 2 weeks ago against the 49ers or 3 weeks ago. They have a really interesting offseason. Stroud was awful. I mean, and he's regressed now 3 years in a row.
Might be time to move on. How about that? Might be time to
at
move
least, might
on.
be time to at least shorten the leash and say, you're not definitely the starter. We're going into camp.
Because you can't screw that up. For as long as you have that great core of defensive players there, you cannot screw that up.
Yeah.
Let's bring somebody in. I think I could quarterback that team and get them farther.
It's true. You definitely could have. I could have. Any of us could have.
Probably.
Drake May was trying to hand them that game. Then you had that pick six that Stroud threw that just bagged it.
How many quarterbacks in the league right now win the Super Bowl with that defense? Same roster, just the quarterback.
The top five guys definitely do. Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Allen, and then I'll throw in Stafford. Top five. May does.
Yep.
Darnold does.
Yep.
That's 7.
Goff.
Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts. That's 10.
No.
Yeah, I think Stroud was that bad, dude.
All right, Jalen Hurts 10. Caleb.
Like, no, you know what? I think Stroud was so bad in this playoff. Like, there might be like 25 or 26 guys on this list. Like, dude, if they beat New England with Jacoby Brissett and then went on to beat Denver with Jacoby Brissett and went on to then win a Super Bowl, that's how bad Stroud was. Davis Mills might win the Super Bowl with that defense. That defense was insane.
We almost got Davis Mills, Bo Nix in the AFC Championship game.
Darnold. Now I just want to throw this out with Darnold too, because I saw this tweet last night, and it's like insane, but not too insane. If he wins another Super Bowl, you could probably project a really strong Hall of Fame case for Sam Darnold's career, because the last 2 years of production have been so off the charts. He's been in the league so long, and he's still only 27 years old, that the first few years is like he's stacking these mid-seasons with the Jets and Carolina that most quarterbacks don't even get, because he was the youngest starting quarterback in NFL history. So he has like 30 touchdowns before the typical quarterback even gets drafted, spends 1 year as a backup. And so if he gives you another like 7 good seasons here from 27 to 34, 35, and wins another Super Bowl and maybe a Super Bowl MVP, all I'm saying is I don't think it's going to happen, but there is a Darnold window now to go actually become like a legacy quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen, but there's certainly a possibility of it happening. Like, I don't think he'll get into the Hall of Fame. No. I heard this argument. I forget who brought it up to me, but somebody brought this argument up to me over the weekend. I'm not there. I can't get there, but we're a long way away from that even becoming, I think, like a serious conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is interesting. Last thing I do want to just mention is that if you look at all-time Super Bowl head coaches, guys who have won, this is the flip of the Darnold Hall of Fame thing. I think Mike McDonald is the third coach ever to be defensive-minded and win a Super Bowl without a Hall of Fame quarterback. Parcells, Billick with the Ravens, and now McDonald. I believe this is the third time it's ever happened.
It's incredible.
So,
yeah. What a job. I mean, the entire time I'm just sitting there saying, like, this guy won them a Super Bowl. Like, this guy, like him and Schneider, like they did this.
And I know that people won't go there, but I thought he outcoached VRABEL last night in a big way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, VRABEL had no chance, though. Like, VRABEL had no chance.
He didn't. That's why I didn't want to make it a big part of the show today.
Because he doesn't have, it's not even close. He was so outmatched on that side of the ball.
No, he
He
was.
was so outmatched.
He was honestly, they were outmatched on both sides.
They were.
Like, everybody was talking all week about how great New England's secondary is, but I truly believed in what I said this week, that Seattle's better at every position group, because like Carlton Davis was a liability all year. He was the only free agent signing that never worked out really for New England. Had a couple big moments, caught a pick or two in that Texans game. I think he had 2 interceptions, but he just wasn't the guy they brought in from Detroit. And I don't know. Vrabel just didn't have the team this year. And I don't know if you will, because it's not like New England's walking into this offseason now with a lot of draft picks. And I mean, I think they have all of their draft picks, but they have 7, I believe, maybe 8. They might have like an extra day 3. But you're walking into an offseason without like $90 million in cap. You had your offseason last year where you spent to get this team right. And it worked. You got in the Super Bowl after winning 4 games last year. But the road ahead is going to be interesting for New England.
New England might be done for a couple of years. Because I think Kansas City's back next year. I think Buffalo's back next year.
Losing the Chiefs down year, the Mahomes injury, they wouldn't have made the playoffs anyways, but losing that year for every team that didn't capitalize this year, especially Denver. If I'm Sean Payton, like, I have not slept in 3 weeks since Bo Nix got hurt, in a month since Bo Nix got hurt, because this was your chance to get there and get in. The Chargers don't even win the division the year the Chiefs suck. Like, Buffalo is the biggest one.
You're just taking shots at LA all day.
Well, you're a Jim Harbaugh like stan to the max, so it's tough.
Yeah, and they'll be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl next year. Like, that's what's happening.
You've said this, I think, 2 years in a row now.
I know, but it's at SoFi this year. So
they haven't won a playoff game with Justin Herbert.
It'll be Rams Chargers this year. LA.
He is worse in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson is.
That's bad, by the way, because he's bad in the postseason.
The 3 worst quarterback games that aren't CJ Stroud games in the playoffs the last 3 years are all Justin Herbert.
All right. We're getting enough. We're good. We're good there.
All right, let's wrap it up.
We're good. MVP vote.
MVP vote. Yeah, Sam Monson.
What's going on with the jersey giveaway? We're doing that today?
Tomorrow. Today's the last day to put in for the jersey giveaway. You can still put in for it. We're going to throw it up on the story again in a few minutes. You can still put in for it. So enter. You have a chance to win any jersey you want. Just got to follow, like, comment on the post. We appreciate all the support we've gotten on the jersey giveaway. It's done well. That's going to be a wrap on the Sunday recap for this year. We do have a series that's going to be launching with a couple of teams. Giants will be one. Jets will be one. Mostly the bottom feeders. It's going to be just before free agency, long-form YouTube videos of full offseason breakdowns, the way we do the Yankees and Mets ones, but we're going to just do it for a few NFL teams. And then baseball season's right around the corner, so pumped. We're excited for baseball. A lot of new plans, so that'll be announced probably end of next week with baseball stuff. A couple new shows coming that we're very excited for, and a couple new faces to BTO. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like it, and we will see you back on the Sunday recap in September.